Starting this morning with a popper and a dropper. In another video, I talk about the hopper and dropper, which is something that I like to fish with the spinning rod that a lot of fly fishermen do. Fishing with the Rebel Crickhopper with a fly as a dropper beneath it. This is essentially the same rig. However, I'm using a Rebel Crickhopper Popper, which instead of wobbling on the surface actually pops. And my dropper, instead of being a fly, oh, there we go. Got that one to hit the top water. But my dropper is a Lindy B-Max jig, a little nipper, which is a little feather jig. Get this guy in, look at that a little more. What we have here, get this guy to the bank. This might be a Coosa bass, which is one of the species that I have not yet gotten for the Georgia Bass Slam. It's kind of got the coloration. I'll have to look at him closer. Oh, he's missing one eye. Interesting. Get the hook out of him and try to see what we have here. Oh, that eye's already bad. So what we have here is definitely a Coosa River bass. The question is whether he's long enough for the Georgia Bass Slam minimum. Oh yeah, he's definitely big enough. Not even close. He's right about 10.5 inches. A couple of distinguishing features on that fish are the little crescent behind the eye, and you see kind of the reddish coloration on the fins, and just the general markings. And I believe this guy is pure Coosa and ought to meet the qualifications. So, yeah, so we're gonna let this guy go and see what else we can catch. That didn't take long. It's certainly a good start to the morning. Rest in the water a minute. He's ready to take off. Off he goes. Very nice. Show you this rig that I'm fishing with. I was starting to talk about when that fish hit on the front. My primary lure, the one that the fish hit, is a Rebel Crickhopper Popper, which you can see has a grasshopper or cricket sort of a profile, but a popping face on the front. So when I twitch the rod tip, it makes a popping sound, and that fish came up and hit that. I've taken the front treble hook off because it can. The dropper line can get fouled on it when you have that extra treble, and really the one generally does the job. And then I just have a couple of feet of leader. That could be anywhere from 1.5 foot to about 2 feet. And then I have a 64th ounce Lindy little nipper on here, the B-Max little nipper, and it's just a real small profile feather jig that just looks like a little creature drifting underneath there. And a lot of times what'll happen is they'll do the little popping and pausing, and sometimes the fish like that one will come up and respond to the lure on the surface. Other times it'll get their attention, but they won't quite be aggressive enough to take the fish on top, or take the lure on the top, but they'll see that what looks like a little aquatic insect or a minnow or something just kind of cruising in behind it, and that looks like a really easy meal. So it's kind of appealing to two different moods of fish at the same time, and kind of have to watch the lure, because instead of sometimes you'll get the the surface strikes like that one that are very obvious. Other times that your Crickhopper Popper will just dart underneath like a bobber as it's drifted along there. And then other times it's going to be a little more subtle. It's just going to kind of hesitate in the current, or kind of move sideways when the current is not going that way, and need to be paying attention to that. And when that happens, set the hook, because that's the fish that's grabbed it but hasn't really taken off with it. Excited to have caught that qualifying Coosa River bass this morning. If I don't get another bite today, this morning, I'm just going to be here for a little while. But if I don't get another fish this morning, I got to call this outing a success, because it was one of the species that I did not have yet for the Georgia Bass Slam, which is something that I have been actively going after this year. If you haven't seen some of the other videos or aren't familiar with it, the Georgia Bass Slam is a program that's run by the Georgia Wildlife Resources Division that celebrates the diversity of black bass species in the state of Georgia and builds public awareness of it, and just kind of creates a fun challenge for anglers. There are 10 different species of black bass that you can catch and to qualify for the Georgia Bass Slam, and you actually need 5 for it to be during a calendar year, for it to be considered achieving the slam, which I have gotten. That was number 7 for me. So I have, with that one, I have 7 of the 10 species that are possible. And of course, even when I got to 5 and achieved the slam, that was the goal I had set for myself in the year, and I was excited about that. But of course, then you start looking at where you might be able to find some of those other species. And so this is number 7. We'll see if we can add any more. Well, I had one other fish hooked that hit that popper pretty decisively in a little bit different spot, and missed a couple of strikes on where, or likely strikes at least, on the dropper, places where the hopper hesitated or even went under a little bit. Those could have been places where it drifted along, it dragged across a rock and made it hesitate. They look pretty similar, and it's important to set the hook when it does anything even a little bit different, because sometimes the strikes are not super decisive. I'm going to make this a quick morning outing because of some other things that I'm wanting to do today. So making a few casts here with my track down ghost minnow, and then I'm going to head out. But I am thrilled to have gotten my Coosa Redeye bass for the Georgia Bass Slam, fishing on foot.